Hello and welcome to my podcast. My name is Nicole and I'm the brains and the beauty behind Yarn Craft by Nicole. And today I've got some fun things to show you on this yarn chat. The first one is this wonderful cowl. This was a secret pattern test that y'all helped me pick the color for, and it is called the Bandanarama Cowl. I feel like every time that I've tried to spell it, I've definitely spelled it incorrectly because I've forgotten an A or an N at some point. But this was a secret pattern test that I did for Sweet Crochet Dreams. I've pattern tested for her before, and she is doing a Cowl of the Month club. So this is the one for September, and it will be available for purchase Friday, September 1st. And if you're part of the Cowl of the Month club already with her, then you will have already heard about this. So this is really cute. There are two sizes that you can get. I made the large size, but it came out to the same dimensions as the small. There's just something funky with my gauge, and the yarn that I used, which I love, is Frosted Stitch, and it was an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and anyway, it came out perfect to wear with pretty much anything this fall, but I only used 100 grams, and the large size I think uses 120 or something like that. But it's adorable and I love it. I am begging fall to come here to New York. We've had some cooler days for sure, but I think next week it's going to be back in the 90s. I'm not looking forward to that. So it's not quite cool enough for me to wear this most days, but I think I'll be living in this in the fall. This was a colorway that the Frosted Stitch did last year. I think the name of it is Tradition, but she's about to come out with a spices collection. So if you like this color palette, make sure you're following the Frosted Stitch on Instagram, because I imagine that a lot of these same kind of colors will come through in that. And she's so good with neutrals. She's great with neons too. But the Frosted Stitch makes me want to use neutrals, and that doesn't happen very often. So I love it. Bandanarama Cowl comes out September 1st, which is this Friday. Very excited about that. I've also got my Michigan earrings on. It was the first day of school back for Michigan students this past week. I miss Ann Arbor. Obviously, I didn't go to school there, but my husband did the past 2 years to the business school at Ross. We loved it. I miss it. So I'm wearing these in honor for that. I got these at a craft fair in Ann Arbor by a local maker. Don't have the name off the top of my head, but it's made out of yellow heart wood. This isn't even stained. I love these earrings. And my last name is Michael, so they work on 2 levels. Okay, enough about the earrings. I have been making pumpkins. So many Tunisian pumpkins. I had a set of 4 that I made for a customer. They've already been shipped out. They came out really cute. It was a bigger one, and then 3 the same size as the ones I'm going to show you. All orange and green. They were very cute. Loved them. So I made 4 there, and then excuse me, I made 4 more for the craft fair that I'm going to be doing on September 10th. And those are the ones I'm going to show you. I am now very tired of making pumpkins because that's like 12 in 2 weeks. It's a lot of pumpkins, but they're all adorable. So because I'm extra, I did all of the pumpkins in a different Tunisian stitch, so I didn't get bored, or in like a different color if there was one in the same stitch, other than the set I made, because I made them all the same stitch to match. So this is the lattice stitch, if it'll focus, there we go, on this pumpkin. I made one in green that I showed you last week that also used the lattice stitch, but you can't see the stitches as well in the green. Looks really good in the orange. I also made one, this is just the Tunisian simple stitch, if it'll focus. You know you want to. Come on. I feel like I'm gonna trigger Scoot to come upstairs. Maybe if I put them both there. That way you can kind of see the difference between the Tunisian simple stitch and the lattice stitch. They're both super cute. And then the other orange one I made was using the Tunisian full stitch. Again, minute differences for my own amusement for the most part. See if it'll pick that up. There we go. So they're all very cute. And then I didn't have quite enough of the orange or the green to make a full one, so I made a stripy one. This one is my mom and my sister's favorite. They love the striped. And there's just something real clean about a Tunisian simple stitch stripe. It's very cute. So I made those 4, and I think I'm done with pumpkins now for the craft fair at least. I want to make myself a Charlie Brown pumpkin with a chevron, all yellow, black in the middle, and a brown stem. I think I've got yarn for that. You might see that next week. And then I might make some for my mom and my sister, since they really liked that one, like pulling some other things out from stash yarn that I have. But I've run myself out of the orange and green that I used for those. They were both Big Twist panorama or panoramic yarn, and they worked great. I loved it for that, which is sport weight, but I told myself I would make as many as I had the yarn for, and I don't have enough yarn to make any more complete ones, so I think I'm done for the craft fair. That's 8 pumpkins. Feels like enough. We'll see. The other things that I finished were both for the craft fair. So this, I don't think I showed you last week. Also Tunisian. It is just a simple 2-tone Tunisian cowl made out of leftover yarn that I had. I know that the red is Rowan felted tweed. I don't know what the black was. My husband is wonderful. I'm gonna take this one off so I can show you. He cares about what I do and has questions, and I love him for that. But when I finished it and he saw the size, he's like, so is that a cowl or an infinity scarf? I'm like, I don't really know, because it's kind of, see, this is why I love a Tunisian 2-tone, is because it's basically reversible. I mean, it is reversible. This is the back side. Look at how cute that is. Maybe I need to make more of these, because this is honestly a good size, and I haven't blocked it yet. Clearly I have not tried it on yet. I like this a lot. And I was like, I don't know if it's cowl or an infinity scarf. I'm gonna lean cowl because I can't loop it twice, but it's very cute that he wants to know what things are. He's also going to be helping me run the craft booth. And I think that's also part of it, is that he wants to know what it's going to be called in our Square system so that he can look it up. So he's great. I love him. And I like this a lot. Yeah, this is cute. I should make another one. I'm also a little tired of Tunisian. Not really, but maybe I'm just tired of using the hook that I used for all of the pumpkins and for this. And it's the same hook I'm using for a secret pattern test. I'm using that hook a lot. Maybe that's just the issue, is that I need something Tunisian that is not that. The other thing that I actually finished this morning, another thing for the craft fair, is this. Last week, I don't know if you can hear Scoot, he might join us. Hey buddy. Cute Scoot. One of the things that I really like about what I've been doing for the craft fair is that I can just make things and not have to worry about a pattern. Like, I don't have a pattern for that cowl. For the pumpkins, I came up with a loose pattern of like, this is about how many stitches I need for stitches that are taller. This is about how many stitches I need for stitches that like shrink up. Kind of had a pattern for that. And this one is a little bit based on a pattern that I have called the Love of Linen shawl, which is a wonderful pattern, very beginner friendly. And I did it in DK. That pattern is written for like a heavy fingering or a sport. But I really like the fabric that I got for this. And I love this section. So what I'm thinking is that now that I have played around with this and really like this section, I kind of want to do a shawl that is like a triangle shawl that's inside, like you work it from the inside and work your way out shawl, instead of an asymmetrical one like this one is in this stitch pattern, and then throw in some other stitches later. And that's what I love about having a season of just like making things and not overthinking them, just kind of using the yarn that you have, playing around. I'm sure many designers get this when they swatch for their patterns to see which stitch patterns will work. But a lot of times I just don't know if I'm gonna like it until I see it in a project. And I really like this. And it's very easy, and I think it would be easy enough to use in that. It would honestly make a really cute like top-down t-shirt or a cardigan. I don't know, I like it, and I think that there are ways to play with it. So I'm encouraged by that because I haven't had a lot of pattern design ideas recently. I've had some, but nothing that I was just like, let's get started on this. Like with the shark fin cowl, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew how I wanted to use the yarn, and I just needed the time to do it. And now it's like I've got the time and I don't know what I want to make. Got the time and I've got the yarn. You can't really see, but I've got a lot of stash yarn up here. So yeah, anyway, really like the way this came out. The darker color I actually bought when I was working in the wooden needle. It's a Stitch Together Studio color. It's called Swearing Like a Sailor. I had it in just an infinity scarf for myself that I ended up not wearing much. I made it far too narrow, and then I took it out this past year and I was like, well, let me make it into something else. And then this is left over from a baby blanket that I made, and this is Malabrigo yarn. So I need to block it so that it gets a little bit looser, but I want to be able to show y'all today, so I haven't blocked it yet. But I don't know, you could see a pattern for me with this stitch pattern soon-ish because I really like it. And that's the other thing, is like seeing it in a DK, where most of the time where I've done linen stitch and shawls, like the Love of Linen shawl and the X Factor shawlette, both of those are similar, and they're both in fingering weight. They're both great because they just use a skein, but I think that I want to do something chunkier in a DK. Yeah, I think so. We'll see what happens. This has no pattern, but it could become a pattern. So those are what I finished. It doesn't feel like a lot, but again, 8 of the things that I finished were pumpkins. That just takes a while. Throw this back on. I also really like this because it's seamed in the back, so I don't have to tie it. It's just one piece. I like it. You can kind of scrunch it how you would like. It uses fingering weight. I would also really like to make this in a DK. It would be really pretty in a DK. Okay, works in progress. I kind of have 2, so let me show you the first one. This one, they both use granny squares, surprisingly enough. This one is something I started last night as part of a not secret pattern test, so I can show it to you. This is, I think right now the designer is calling this the Granny Square Cowl, but it's gonna have 6 rows of these little squares, and then I forget how many go around, but it'll be twice as thick as this. And it's very cute. It uses the join as you go technique, which I have never done. I like seaming granny squares together. I like the way it looks, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this pattern test, is because 1, it was very cute, and 2, I wanted to learn this method. If I could talk, that'd be great. And it's coming out adorable. The yarn that I'm using for this is also making me love it. It is from Sunshine Queen. You're probably not gonna be able to read this because it's blown out. Sunshine Queen Fibers. She's on Etsy, and the main color is called White Opal. I love it. It's so very soft. And then I got a mini skein that is turquoise. And then another one, I think it's amethyst. All of these have a little bit of stellina in them, so they've got a little sparkle. It's super soft. I'm loving this. I'm enjoying the method of putting them together. Because they are so small, I mean, it would be a pain in the butt to seam these together. So I'm enjoying it. I like it a lot. It's a Sass and Stitch pattern, and this is going to be part of her book, I believe, that comes out sometime next year, which I'm very excited about. She also has a cardigan that uses the same method with just solid ones, and I would love to make that one out of scraps. So we've got that. I also have this cute bag that I'm keeping it in. I got this at Comic-Con. It's Disney villains. It's got the Evil Queen from Snow White, Cruella de Vil, Maleficent. I think that's it, but I really liked it. I also got a villains bag for my bestie that I sent her in the mail this week, and she loved it. The only other thing that is a whip is also going to tie us into yarn love. So if you recall, it might have been a month at this point, I was making these granny squares for a granny square tee. I think I have 54 of these, something like that. All kind of in the same color palette. Some purples, tans, navies, burgundies, pinks, left over from other projects. And then I wanted to buy yarn from a yarn dye that I hadn't used before to finish off the tee. So I messaged her on Instagram. I actually sent her a picture of the squares that I had and said, hey, these are some colors I'm kind of thinking of that you have in your dyed to order section on your website. What do you think is going to be best? Because with most things, not everything is going to be represented the best in pictures as it is in real life. So you don't want to ever order something, especially something like hand-dyed yarn that you're spending a lot of money on and that the dyer is spending a lot of work on, and then not be happy with it. So she was great. I used Made by Hailey Bailey, and I finally got the yarn in this past week. So I'm very excited to show you, and I guess I should have left these out. I have 3 skeins of this. Oh, you know you want to zoom in on this. Come on, camera. This is her honey color. Beautiful. It's somewhere between like a, I don't know, like a smoky yellow, leans a little green. I think that's going to look really good on me, and I think it's going to look really good with the squares. I wanted to pick a color that complemented the squares well, but didn't look like I was trying to match any of the colors in it. So let's just use this one for example. Like, that's just going to look really pretty together. If it will focus, there we go. So I like this a lot. I'm very pleased with it. I think I'm not going to start this until after the fair so that I don't get distracted. We'll see. If I need a project that doesn't use tiny yarn and I just need a DK project, I'll pull that out. But you do a join as you go method as well for the squares to attach them to make the tee. The tee is the Hattie Tee by Holly Woodward Deigns, and I'm very excited to make it. And I'm excited to use new yarn to me. So yeah, that's all I've got this week. We've got a big weekend ahead of us. My husband's parents are coming into town. We're gonna go do US Open stuff. We're actually gonna get to see my husband's office for the first time in Times Square and all that jazz. And it's gonna be a fun weekend. I'm very excited. And yeah, I think I'm going to be working on baby girl's alphabet blanket while we are doing all this running around, because it's small, and you know, because you're just doing square by square, and because they take a while. I think that's the project, because I'm only going to bring one as we're doing all these things this weekend, and I don't want anything where I have to, I don't know, seam or finish something and then run out. I don't know. So I'll probably be working on that. So hopefully I'll have some squares to show you next week. And with that, let's wrap up with what I can't let go this weekend. And what I can't let go this weekend is Rhinebeck. I have been waffling about Rhinebeck. When we first moved here, one, we were looking at houses that were a little bit more north of where we are. We're pretty close to the city right now. Like we're a little bit outside of the Bronx and New Rochelle. And when we were first moving to New York, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get to go to the Sheep and Wool Festival this year. I'm gonna get to go to Rhinebeck. Very excited about it. I can make it a day trip. It'd be great. Well, now that we are a little bit further away from where Rhinebeck is, and now that I know that I will be, what, 7 months pregnant by the time that Rhinebeck rolls around, I'm not sure if this is the year for me, because it would require my husband to come with me just because it's such a long drive, and it would make more sense, since it's like now a 2-hour or 2-hour plus drive depending on the traffic, to do like an overnight trip. That means probably we would find a dog-friendly Airbnb or hotel so that Scoot could come with us. They would hang out at the hotel, then he would pop in, maybe do lunch with me. I don't know. I just don't know that I don't know that that's the right move this year, because it seems like a lot of work, and we already we don't have a place lined up to stay. And because Rhinebeck as a town is relatively small, like the spots go very quickly. So even now we'd be looking at staying 20 or 30 minutes outside of that. And I don't know. I want to go to Rhinebeck while we're here in New York. Very much. I think it'll be fun. And I don't really mind doing a festival by myself, but this seems like it would be a lot to try to do this year. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you've done Rhinebeck and you're like, oh yeah, totally worth it, and it won't be that big of a deal, 7 months pregnant, let me know. The other thing that's making me think that shouldn't do it this year is that I found out that there is a smaller fiber festival in Brooklyn, like 2 weekends before Rhinebeck, and called the Kings County Fiber Festival, where I could still kind of scratch the itch, but it's like a 45-minute drive, and it's free to get in, so that like we could drive down there. My husband can kind of find parking while I walk around. We can do lunch in Brooklyn. It would be a much simpler, lower key event. And then if for whatever reason I wasn't feeling great that day, or something else came up, wouldn't be that big of a deal to cancel. So many hiccups today. I apologize. So I that's where I'm leaning. But let me know. That's what I can't let go of, is to go to Rhinebeck or not to go to Rhinebeck this year. With that, that is where I'll leave you. I will see you here next week with all sorts of new projects. And I hope you have a great and restful week until then. If you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, that's easy enough to do. I will see you next time. Bye.